What's up? This is Brandon Donahue, and you're listening to the All Bass No Treble podcast, where we talk all things hip-hop, culture, music, lifestyle, and more. So kick back and join myself and my co-host as we feature our next special guest this week. What's up, everyone? Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of All Bass No Treble. As always, I'm your host, Brandon Donahue, and today I got my special guest with me, Natalee Linez, right? That's how you pronounce it.
Linez.
Linez. Okay, there you go. So a little twine on it. But welcome. I'm glad you're on the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
I know. So I know a little bit about you. So kind of let the people know who you are, what you do.
Yeah. My name is Natalee Linez. I'm an actress and entrepreneur. I'm on a couple shows right now that maybe one of y'all have seen. One of them is called Tell Me Lies on Hulu. The other one is Raising Kanan on Starz, part of the Power universe. And then I have a business called Magic, which is a mental health and wellness company that I started during the pandemic.
Dope.
And then I just launched my own podcast called Ground Up with Natalee. So yeah, there's really never a dull moment.
Yeah, you're working. I love it. I always see
it.
And it's funny because like we were just talking about Connor, and I met you at BOA.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've met so many like dope. It's funny how many people you meet in the restaurant world that like go on to do things or you just kind of watch their journey. Because I remember when I like started at BOA, you were just kind of getting like commercials and stuff like that. And I remember I'd be like, oh, that's Natalee.
Yeah,
and Toyota commercial. Oh shit,
right?
You know
and
what I mean?
Like, but still working.
Yeah,
at
but
BOA,
still working.
Hostessing. I feel like at restaurants, everyone that works in a restaurant like has some sort of dream outside of.
Oh yeah,
you know?
for sure. Yeah,
especially in LA, it's almost like guaranteed.
I know that's what everyone always asks me, bartending. Like, oh, are you an actor? I'm like, no, I'm not trying to be an actor. Actually.
However, I love this, that, the other.
Yeah.
And so I feel like we were just like a hodgepodge of kids because this was like, you know, I started at BOA 8 years ago.
Yeah. It was like 2015. That was a good year at BOA, though. I feel like that was like the last.
You were at BOA for a year?
I was 1 year. Yeah.
Okay.
1 year and out.
By the way, BOA is a steakhouse.
Yes,
in West
BOA
Hollywood.
Steakhouse in West Hollywood on Sunset.
You
Shout
were
out.
a runner, right?
I was a runner. Yeah.
Okay.
Food runner. I got out there with my dreams of LA. And luckily, Colin Delaney, who I work with now, bartending, we bartend at Sound. I don't know if you remember Colin.
Wait. Which restaurant?
I work at Chulita in Venice.
Okay,
right
I'm gonna have to go over there.
It's dope, yeah. It's like a mezcal tequila bar.
Ooh,
it's
yum.
like, and the Mexican food is amazing.
Yeah.
They just got a Michelin bib, so it's a Michelin. You have to have like it's like $100 or more. So a Michelin bib is for an entree, glass of wine, dessert, and an appetizer. You can spend $50. So you get a Michelin bib.
Oh my God. You guys, I thought he was talking about a bib.
Oh.
Like you wear a bib because this michelada drink is going to be super messy.
No, like
something like
no, like a Michelin star is like really high quality.
Oh, Michelin star.
Michelin star.
Okay,
Yeah, there you
got
go.
It.
Not the michelada bib.
Okay.
No, that would be hilarious though. Michelada bibs.
Okay.
But yeah, no, it's true. Like I feel like the restaurant world is definitely. I feel like if you're in music, acting, entrepreneur stuff, it's like the perfect thing because one, you meet so many connections, people you work with, and
you
then
make hella
two,
money.
Yeah, you make good money, and then it's like you have freedom to like find a cover, and it's not like your life.
So much freedom, and it's at nighttime, whereas like a lot of meetings or things, auditions happen during the day. And
so you have the time. That's why you've had the time to finally do all this stuff, and now you're not in any restaurant.
Not in any restaurant.
Right. Nice.
And one of the main questions I get asked, because I speak to a lot of like acting classes, and they're like, what do you, like it's hard to move out here, and they're like, how do you make money, sustain living, right? Especially cost of living is so expensive right now, and pursue acting. And like, I can only speak from starting, 8 years ago, so maybe things were different, but I mean, restaurants are the best way to do it. I would go to work at 5 and I'd be done and I never like was a server because I knew I didn't want to
get in that realm of like,
exactly. I didn't want to make 6 figures a year and be comfy.
It sucks you in, because then you're like, well,
I was like, I'll be a hostess and make like $12 an hour and some tips, and then really be like craving to get out of there.
That's smart.
That was just the best way to like sustain.
Yeah, for sure.
Life.
And then so like you're from California originally, right? So you're from Northern Cal?
Southern.
You're from
SoCal.
Southern Cal.
Yeah,
okay, you're from SoCal. Okay. So
but
you
really south, like
really
towards the Mexican border.
Oh, got it. Okay, dope.
So South Orange County, Dana Point.
Got you. All right. So when did you give us your story on like when you moved to LA and like was acting always like your thing as like a little girl? Were you just like, Mom, I'm gonna be an actress?
Yes, exactly. So I knew I wanted to be an actor since I was like 6. I don't know.
Wow, that's crazy.
I know. I don't know how. The reason I know it was so young is because in first grade, which is like 6 years old, right?
Yeah.
You had to write a letter to someone that like inspired you. And so a lot of people were writing to like the president of the United States, even like they can be dead or alive. So some kids were writing to like Mother Teresa. I don't know, like weird shit. And I wrote mine to Jim Carrey. And I was like,
word.
Hey, I really want to be an actor. Like my dad and I love Ace Ventura. If you can put in a good word, that'd be great.
That's hilarious. That's dope.
So I know that it started like way back then.
Young, yeah.
And I would just tell my mom, like, yeah, I want to be an actor. Like I want to be, you know, like I was watching Disney Channel and I was like, I want to be doing that. And a little fun fact is that I never did drama. So I was never in plays or anything like that. I would try.
Yeah.
I would sign up for the class and I would get there and be like, oh, this isn't it. Like, this isn't what I want to do.
I always wondered if like that has to go hand in hand, drama and acting. But
I guess not.
I guess I could see where it's different though. Like there's a difference between like theater and like acting on a show. There's a huge difference, yeah.
And so I actually didn't get the taste of TV and film until I was 17. I went to community college by my house and I started at in a class where she did only TV and film.
Oh, wow, okay.
And she taught you how to, we shot with like the directing class that did,
that's dope.
on like red cameras, and we would print scenes from movies, and you would do it with a partner, and you would bring props and everything, and you would like do the scenes. And I was like, and you're much more intimate with the camera rather than like projecting out into an audience.
Wow, okay.
And so like I found that that's what I really love, to tell a story that way rather than, you know,
that's
a more
dope.
theater way.
Yeah.
And so that's when I was like, I mean, I knew, so 6 years old, I knew but my mom was like not gonna be a stage mom. Yeah. So you can't really do anything, you know? Like she supported it. She's like, I love that for you. But so it's
hard. You gotta like
So then when I was 16, I was like, you know, going on the internet, finding out how to get an agent and a manager, like literally Googling like, how do I become an actor? And I really started from the ground up, like, you know, those embarrassing things that you would do. I would like send my quote unquote headshot that I would have like my mom's friend take in the garage of me. And then I would like mail it, hard mail to a management company in LA. And of course, never hear anything. I mean, who knows if it even got to them. Yeah. But then I don't know, you just slowly learn on LA casting, and then I was submitting myself to like music videos. Got it. You know, and then I'm driving up to LA by myself and like going to weird castings that probably shouldn't have been at. You know, right? It's just like, what am I doing here? Yeah. Right? What is this? Like, it pays absolutely not, because there are certain things that you don't want to do necessarily out of like, just. There's things that back in the day, at least, that would be like, here's $50 for the day, and they use you as like just
like a background.
And you know, background is fine. But my teacher that I told you about at the college, she did tell us all. She's like, don't do background work. Got it. Like if you want to like, you know, really make this a thing for you, like don't even don't even do it. And now looking back, I'm glad that I didn't go that route. I can see how it's helpful. You learn all about a set. Yeah. If you really are like, I'm doing this as homework, then super fun. But if you're trying to be an actor, I wouldn't be like, okay, first thing I should do is get into background acting. Yeah, right. It wouldn't be my first tip. Okay. It would be to like, you know, get into an acting class.
Well, I think it's important, like what you said, because like you literally were figuring it out as you went, and you didn't have all the answers, but you stuck to it. It's like when it got hard and you were doing like what you said was embarrassing, or you felt was embarrassed when you did that, it was like, sure, you could have used that as fuel to be like, you know what, this is too hard for me. Like, I just don't understand it. I don't know, and quitting. But instead, you like stuck with it, which is super important, I think, for people to hear, because it's like people, I feel like, just see you when you're succeeding and they don't know the background story. They don't know. And people just sometimes assume like, oh, she just got that. Yeah. She didn't put the work in.
I can't do that. And then it can bog you down.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you got to keep failing forward. I think that's such a good point. And that's, I find that story so important. I mean, that's what my podcast as well as yours is like completely based off of. Yeah. It's like, what are those 10 years of hard work behind the overnight success.
Yeah, not giving like the bullshit like PR run where it's all this like pampered. It's like, no, come on here and really talk about like the nitty gritty shit that goes on and what you've had to do and where you got to, and still building. I
feel like people think when they look at someone who they think is successful or that they admire, great, I love that, continue to admire them, but they're definitely still working towards something else.
Yeah, exactly.
And they still don't know what they're doing in some realms, right?
Yep.
Like the only way that you know how to do something is by practicing at it, right? Like I can teach someone all day how to break into the acting industry, right? I could do 20 podcasts on it. I could write a book on it if I really wanted to, right? But how to start a business, I'm 2 years in. So I can tell you the very basics, but I do not feel confident in going and speaking at a seminar, even speaking on a podcast about entrepreneurship. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or
that
like
makes sense.
how to start a podcast.
Yeah.
I'm 10 weeks in.
Yeah. So it's like you want to give your expertise where you feel like you have the knowledge to do so. Instead of being like, you know what, I could tell you, but also like I'm not there yet for me.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to give you some tools or what I think are tools, but I don't really have like the full idea yet.
And if you're on the outside looking in, just know that, you know, that's people are at different stages of all of their endeavors. And it's okay if you're not feeling, you know, super confident. Keep sticking with it, like you said, because you got to get those, you know, 10,000 hours in before you can.
Well, I feel like people too have like a different perception of like, I talked about this with Connor, like when he booked that movie, it's like, okay, life just doesn't stop. Like, yeah, it was huge. Like for him, it was an amazing moment, but it's like, you still have to hustle and get after it. Cause like just booking one movie doesn't mean you've broke the surface or like you're finally, you know, like boom, you have it. It's like you just saw him at an audition for a commercial. It's like no matter what, you keep doing it.
Yeah.
And there's nothing ever to like, he could have that mentality of like, I just did a motion picture. Why am I going to go do a commercial? Like, no. But it's like, instead, it's like, no, I'm going to get work because I'm a working actor.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter what work I take. I'm going to take work because I'm not working a restaurant job anymore. And I'm blessed to have that. So it's like to remind yourself that like, you're not ever too like, quote unquote, good enough to do any sort of work.
Yeah.
I even see some big time actors doing commercials sometimes. And it's like, you know.
They have like multi-million-dollar endorsement
For sure.
deals.
Yeah. Way different, but
there's a couple elements to that I love. One, and at the commercial audition, him and his buddy, we were catching up. I haven't seen him in a while, and I'm like, I'm on a new show, and he's like, I'm like, we just got picked up for season 2, and he's like, what are you doing here? And then we made the joke, and I was like, dude, and he goes, wait, no, you're right. Like, I think there is an element though of leveling up, right?
Yeah.
Like I won't do something now that I would have done 3 years ago. But it's like a very specific thing, right? Like I wouldn't do, for example, my agent and I just had a conversation. I did a really awesome guest star on a show in October called 911.
Okay.
And it was so much fun. And so there's different like levels to a guest star, right? There's like a one-day guest star, or do you have like a really juicy one, right? And you're like in the entire episode, like 8 days you're working like this.
Yeah.
So that was what that was. And I was like, oh my God, I love this. And she's like, dude, you just came off of a big show. Like let's keep it at this. Let's do like big guest stars. Okay. No, like let's not do like a co-star or like a smaller guest star. And I was like, I love that. Like I'm down to commit to that. Right. I genuinely felt okay with like authentic about it. I didn't feel like not worthy of it. I felt ready. And so the next one, so then, auditioning. And then I booked CSI like a month ago. Yeah. And it was like that same quality and size of guest star.
Nice.
And I was like, ooh, I wonder if I had put that intention in.
Yeah.
If it would have been the same or if I would have kind of continued to book good things, but like, these smaller ones, like, no, let's level up. Like, and then it'll be like, no, I only want to do recurring where you're like in like a few episodes of the show. And then it's like, okay, now I'm ready for my lead, you know, kind of leveling
and
up.
And you're kind of like speaking it into existence. Like you're putting it out there in the universe for it to kind of come and get you. You know what I mean? Instead of like saying like, no, I'm not going to do that. Like I think it's people undervalue like speaking it into existence, like and how it actually really comes to fruition like that.
Totally.
All the time.
It's magnetic what you put out there and you receive back.
Yeah. So what would you say was like, do you remember your first, was it like a commercial or like background work where you like
Oh,
first
yeah.
saw yourself on TV and you were like, oh my God, that's like had everyone tune in.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. So, okay, the first spot I ever did, you know Champs Sports?
Yeah.
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 So it was like non-union. It was something I submitted myself to on LA Casting. And so I booked that. And you can, I was in it for like a split second. And when it's non-union, I think for the most part, non-unions like aren't nationals. So it was just
Okay.
like a digital spot. And
Okay,
this
got
is
it.
10 years ago, probably.
Yeah.
And I was pretty stoked. It was like $1,500, for the buyout. So I was like stoked on that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did like a Starbucks small spot. And this is after you guys, like, this isn't like, went to the Champs one and booked it. Like, no, this is like 30 weird auditions in. And I finally booked like a small one,
That's crazy.
Yeah, easy.
30 auditions until you got Champs.
Yeah, until I got my first like teeny tiny, I mean, is it a role? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like
But at least like a spot.
a
like
spot.
a landing. Yeah.
Yes. Again, like building that confidence, right? Like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm kind of on, that was fun.
Yeah.
Like it was so fun, right?
Yeah.
When you're definitively like in the spot, you're not like in a music video as an extra. This was like a principal. It's called an on-screen principal, OCP. So yeah, that was my first one. And then I got Starbucks, I remember, which was like the same thing. Like, $2,500 buyout. Like you're in the spot, but you're not like the lead. No, you are. You're like one of the many like friends in the spot or whatever.
On the commercial, yeah.
Yes. And then I booked my first national commercial in 2015 for Farmers Insurance.
Wow.
And that was really fun.
I remember that.
Yeah?
Actually, that's the one I remember.
That's the one you remember.
Yeah.
Because that's when I worked at BOA.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I remember I came in, I'm like, Nat, I just saw you on a commercial
Yes.
yesterday. I think it was like ESPN too. Like I was watching like a game.
Yeah.
And then I saw you and I'm like, wait, that's Nat. I know her.
National commercials are insane because they're everywhere.
Yeah, and you'll just see like I think I've seen you in that one and like a Toyota one. I think I said right. There was another one. Like which one is like? Aren't you like laying like a pool, or it's like you have like a little brother or something?
Oh, wait, that's the Farmers one.
That was the Farmers one.
That's the pool.
Okay, that's.
I have Snickers airing right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's been so many now over the years.
Yeah.
But my first one was that when I was, and again, I remember going on so many, like before I even booked that.
In 2015, so we're talking about like how many years of auditions and little parts, like you said. How many years was that?
Okay, so let's see. If 2013, if I graduated, I was 18, 17. So probably 2012.
Yep.
Because, I was just getting started. And then that, like, okay, so that's commercial world.
Yeah.
And all this time so you're like auditioning for things, but you're also auditioning for like an agent and a manager.
At the same time, yeah.
I
find that interesting.
Like, because that was commercial world. So I remember I got signed with a commercial agent pretty early on, but then I was like looking for theatrical for TV and film.
Yeah.
So there's just all these different elements that you're doing every single day to try to like progress in acting. There's just never a dull moment, especially when you're trying to build your own career in any career that you do.
Yeah.
Like what you do, you there's always something that you can be doing to like progress. So
well, I think you have to tell yourself that too. It's like never take them. Like all these people that have succeeded and have success in big time world, right? Like they still are thirsty for more. Like they don't settle. None of these people are settling ever. They're still going to acting classes. They're still putting themselves in learning environments. It's like, I think that's super important for people to know. It's like once you get there, that's just the beginning.
Yeah.
It's to stay there
Yep.
and keep it going.
Yep,
And it's
that's
like,
the
I feel
hardest
like
part.
that's super important to know, especially in like the acting world, because there's so many people trying to be actresses and actors and, break, so it's like, even Shaw has been doing it forever and I always see him do little kind of like you said, guest stars or roles and stuff. And he's still landing work but he's still pushing himself and still just working at BOA, like doing
every
whatever.
day, like
and it's like, there's nothing wrong with that.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that it's important in this industry as well to like get quiet with yourself and be intentional about like what you want, what your goals are, what your intentions are, right?
Yeah.
Like I kind of knew the trajectory that I wanted.
Yeah.
And I've been getting that because of, listen, hard work, right? Like these so much rejection. And I'm actually just now realizing as I'm getting booking more, there's more rejection and it's bigger, right? Yes, I'm getting closer to bigger roles and it might seem like that makes me feel better.
Yeah.
And it should. That's where gratitude comes in, where I need to be like, okay, Natalee, just because this happened to you, be grateful that you even had the opportunity to get that close on a roll. But it doesn't take away the pain from getting so close to something you love and then feeling that rejection of like, dude.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine. Especially when you've had some success now. So it's like you kind of have an expectation for yourself to get it in a way, right?
Yeah.
So how do you say is like a really key, important way to deal with that for people that are going to experience that? Like getting that door shut in your face. And sometimes it gets even harsher, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, how do you cope with that in a sense?
I feel like the best way to deal with rejection is knowing that, especially in the acting industry and the entertainment industry, is that there are so many cooks in the kitchen. There is so much happening behind the scenes that we are not let in on. Like, another thing I've learned recently is the actors are the last to know anything.
Really?
Oh my God, you have no idea.
I don't
care if you are number one lead in the show. You get the information last. We get scripts last. We get dates when we're flying places to shoot last.
Wow.
So you just, I guess, a constant reminder to myself, like, it has nothing to do with you and your talent and what you bring to the table. And it's taken a lot of time and a lot of affirmations and a lot of being vulnerable enough to go to friends and be like, dude, this is how I'm feeling. Like, you know, and then they're like, nah, this happened to me.
Yeah.
Or just simply like, you're fucking amazing, Natalee. Like, I'll take that all day. Give me that right now. You know, when I'm going through this, like, you know, just came close to this part and, you know, they pull you along. They're, oh, we love her. Yeah.
Right.
Come back for this audition. Come back for this audition.
Okay, it's going well. It's going good. I think I'm going to get it. And then it's like.
And it's like, no, sorry. You know what?
Yeah.
She's 5'6". We thought that she was 5'2", and we just really need her to be 3 inches shorter.
Oh my God.
or whatever.
So it could just be little things like that even. Wow, yeah. I could see that, and that's hard to like remove yourself and be like, okay, it's not me, it's what they per se are meaning or saying, but that doesn't affect me and what I've done and how good I still feel about this. Because like you said, even just to have the opportunity and get that far is a blessing, right? And
Absolutely.
It's like, you just always have to remind yourself that, though.
Yeah. I mean, you can even pull way back and be like, I'm so lucky to live in a country where I'm able to like pursue anything I want as a woman. Like,
lucky to live in LA. Like,
tomorrow I can literally wake up and be like, I want to be an interior designer. And then I could sign up for school and go to it and sign up for a loan that pays for it. Like, you know, all these... We live in just a place of abundant opportunity. And so like, you have to kind of feel the feels, but like remember that we're so lucky.
And that's important, and to take your time and use it of value. Like, you know, for me, and you just mentioned this during COVID, is when you launched Magic. So for me, that's when I launched the podcast, because I had all this time. I said, okay, Brandon, what are you going to do with this time? Like, COVID, right, was a very harsh thing to go through. But I think, and I've talked about this before, it was a blessing in some ways, because you got to stop and be at home, and like every excuse you had of, oh, I can't do that, I'm too busy, I'm always working. Like, no, you're home now. There's nothing to do outside. Yeah. So if you have something you want to pursue, now's the time, because you were getting money. You're not worrying about working, right? So it's like, you know, those who were lucky enough to receive it right away and all that, like I said, it's circumstantial. But I think if all the circumstances were right, it was really a good time to just finally make something happen. So how was that with Magic? Like, when did that start, and what was the background on that?
Yeah. So the idea was whispered to me from the universe in 2019. So the year before. And I say that in that way because I'm big on like, you know, if we take time for ourselves and like be quiet, like we're all given like our creative genius. And that's how it came to me. It was like, it was a time of that I was actually in a really low time in 2019, because I had just come off my first show called Siren, and it was my first theatrical show, and then wrapped, and then like didn't book all year, right? So you're like, I mean, I went back to BOA to start working again.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so I was really like, just kind of down, you know?
Yeah, because you felt like you retracted kind of.
Yeah, retracting, and you crave it again. And
Mm-hmm.
You're just like, what's next? And I didn't have anything else going on at the time, right?
Okay.
Which another thing I talk about all the time is how important it is in life in general, but definitely in the entertainment industry, to have other things to do not as a backup plan.
Yeah.
Just as simply you're a human with different facets of interests. Like don't put everything in one basket.
In one basket,
right?
yeah.
So that was 2019. So I had the idea, but I didn't do anything with it, right?
Okay.
I was just like, ooh, morning routines are a huge thing.
Yeah.
I implemented one. I ended up creating MAGIC, which stands for meditation, affirmations, gratitude, intentions, and coffee.
I love that.
And it became
coffee. Yeah, you do love your coffee. Yep.
Big coffee girl. And so it became my morning routine.
Yeah.
And so I created an Instagram for it, and that was it in 2019.
Okay.
Cut to 2020. Now I have all this time, and I'm like, oh, that magic thing. Like, what a perfect time with zero structure in our life right now. People can use this as a means of structure.
Wow.
So I started fleshing out the Instagram a little bit more.
Yeah.
And people were loving it, and friends were loving it. And I had focus groups like via Zoom with friends being like, help me, you know?
Yeah.
I tell people all the time too, like, don't underestimate the power of 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 friends and the willingness that they have to help you, because everyone is always willing to help, especially if you bribe them with some snacks. Like, yo,
Right.
come over.
Yeah.
I'm gonna, you know.
Make some little yummy snacks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We got waters and cookies, whatever you want.
Yeah.
Come help me. And so that was kind of what happened. And then again, yeah, I just hunkered down with all that time that we had. And it was so nice to not feel FOMO of like having to be anywhere.
Right.
And so I just day in and day out kind of was writing the copy for the inside of the journal. I already knew the method and how I wanted it to kind of lay flat on a piece of paper as a template.
Yeah.
And have the person fill it in. And then literally Google printing companies that print journals. Like,
Got it.
you know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And
And people think it's so like, there's like, people think that it's like, you have this like grand plan. It's like, no, you're Google searching and you're trying to figure this out.
I
Like,
am not special.
Like everyone else, it's like, you just do it. You just figure it out,
you
right?
just got to fail forward and take action on, you know.
That's a very good way to put it. Yeah. So what would you say is, what's your, like your morning routine? Like let's speak that.
Okay. So my current morning routine is, so the magic is now a journal, right?
Yep.
So that is part of it. So the first thing I do is I wake up and I go into a meditation. So I'll do like a 10-minute guided meditation on a free app called Insight Timer. I'll either do guided or I'll just set a timer on Insight Timer for like 10 minutes and just do silent.
And what time are you getting up and doing this?
Okay, so this time change situation has really fucked me because today I woke up at like 7:40.
Okay.
And I don't even wake up at 6:40. I wake up at like 5:30.
Oh, wow.
So like I'm like, whoa, 8 a.m. this morning was like not chill.
Yeah.
But 5:30. 5:30
Okay, wow.
is a prime, really great time for me. Because the thing is there's just this thing about the silence of the mornings. And no one else, not my neighbors, no one on Instagram is awake.
At 5:30,
So you kind of feel like that pandemic feeling of like, okay, well, I can't be anywhere anyways. Nothing's going on. So you kind of have this guilt-free time to yourself.
Wow.
And unfortunately, I think that just with the way society is and the way that anyone who is alive right now is built, like doing that at 2 p.m. is really hard.
Yeah.
Like
that makes sense.
Yeah. I don't, care what anyone says.
Yeah.
Like,
there's like you said, there's something in that moment of being like, you feel like it's just you awake.
The solace of the morning is serene. And again, I think a really good way and simple way to put it is like guilt-free. You're just like, okay, this time is for me. So after the meditation, I open my magic journal and the first line is M for meditation. So I write like 10-minute silent meditation.
Okay.
And then the A is affirmation. So I write 3 affirmations.
Wow.
So like for affirmations, they're statements that rewire our subconscious mind to like believe things about ourselves. So this morning I probably wrote something because it always has to do with what I'm going through in my life right now. So like, I've actually never mentioned this yet, but I'm going on Shark Tank.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. Wait, really?
Well, hold on. I'm going to the casting for Shark Tank.
Got it.
And so I think I wrote like, I am like a badass CEO of a multi-million-dollar company.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like rewiring my brain to actually believe that because guys, fun fact, Brandon and I are just like all of you, you know, like
for real,
nothing going on here. Just fucking
just humans,
day in and day out, like trying to be better. And
yes,
I want to build an empire, and like maybe that's not your goal, but I'm sure that you might want to open a flower shop or, you know, do something. And we all have to gain that confidence somehow. So that's the A. And then the G is gratitude. So I write down 3 things I'm grateful for. I know we all know the science behind a gratitude practice. It's like, you know, the more blessings we count, the more we are a magnet to abundance in our lives. So like if I'm feeling grateful and I'm going out into the world with this like energy of like life is good, people are like, who's that girl? I want to give her a job. You know,
it's
like,
gonna attract.
Exactly. And that's the G. And then the I stands for intentions, which is my favorite part of magic. So I write down 3 goals. Wow. Right? They can be large, they can be small. I need to go to the DMV on Friday. Gotta go to the you know what I mean? Like you write that. I'm gonna be the lead in a movie. So those can be back to back. I will, so it's like an I will statement. So like I will fill out the Shark Tank application, right? Setting intentions, not just going through the motions every single day of like, oh shit, I need to do that. Oh shit, I need.
And some bigger intentions and some very easy, approachable intentions.
Yes, but you know that like what you need to get done. And again, it's in that subconscious mind now. So what are we at? Like 15 minutes of that morning time, 10-minute meditation. It takes about 5 minutes to write this out. The C in magic is just a quote every single day. So you just like read it, get inspired. And then I'll go make coffee. And then I will, because since it's so early still, right? I don't feel like I need to open my laptop. I haven't opened Instagram yet. So then I read for 30 minutes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So that's where I find the time to read, gain some knowledge, gain some perspective. A lot of times I like to read like spiritual things. So then I'm feeling grounded for my day and less on edge, less reactive, right? You read some good philosophy, you're kind of feeling a little bit better than... Yeah, and then ideally I'll go to like a hot yoga class, but if I don't do it, I'll do it at night. Okay. But yeah.
That's dope. And I could see how that would be super important to set yourself up your day like that. Like, you know what I mean? I can already tell how that would like affect someone's mindset to like get their day going.
Beyond. And Jay Shetty, who's one of my favorite, like, he's like considered like the modern day monk. I don't know. Have you heard of him?
I haven't.
Okay. At the end of his podcast, he always asks people like, if you could make one law that everyone had to follow, what would it be? And it would be to have an hour morning routine. Wow. Because imagine every single human breathes and takes time for themselves every morning. Like, don't you think we'd be so much less like aggressive throughout the day?
Oh, for
and
sure.
Just more intentional,
like you said, reactive and more like take a second to like
think crazy.
Oh my God, right? Especially out here. Yeah, for sure. No, that's super important. I could even see like how that would help me in my life, right? Like, because there's always ways we can better ourselves and things we can work at. Like, I don't have any routine. I don't have even like a set pace of waking up at the same time and stuff. Granted, because, you know, and this might be an excuse, but just because I'm in the bartending world and my hours are all over the place. So it's like,
that's hard.
You know, I told him before, he's like, how's your Monday going? I'm like, man, to be honest with you, I just slept until my body was like, okay, dude, you're good. Because I just haven't been getting rest. Well, like rest, but like good rest. You know what I mean? Like that good. That good, comfy, like, oh, all right, here I am. I'm getting some rest.
Sleep is so important.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. But it's like, I could definitely see if I were to do that, how intentional I would be with all of my free time and all of my days. Yeah. So I can definitely see how that works and why it's working and why people are, you know, getting the journal and using it. I can definitely see that.
And it doesn't have to be long.
Yeah,
you know?
Like you said, it's what, 15 minutes?
Yeah, literally 15 minutes. Done.
And Boom. That's smart because it's approachable. It's easy. It's like, I feel like people try to like, you know, we've talked about this, I forget who is on, but it's like, just set yourself with attainable goals rather than like some huge ones. Just because when you do that, you're like almost setting yourself up for like, to be angry and upset with like not getting there. It's like, don't be like, okay, I'm gonna, you know, eat really well this week and I'm gonna be in the gym every day. It's like, no, how about just be like, okay, if I get to the gym twice this week, just in there, not even do a crazy workout, but if I just get there, that's attainable and I'll feel really good, and then I'll want more. I'll be like, okay, I push myself to do that, right?
Rather than shame yourself and be like, oh, well, I didn't do it, and then you just don't do it anymore.
And then because you shamed yourself and you feel bad, and you're like, fuck this.
Tony Robbins says, people underestimate what they can do in a decade and overestimate what they can do in a year.
Wow.
So they'll be like, this year I'm gonna, book the lead in a show. I don't know. Like they're just starting out, right? They're
set
like,
up a big,
by November,
big goal.
I'm gonna da-da-da.
Yeah.
And it's like, hold on. Let's be like, okay, I hope I get like a really great callback in the next few months, right? If you're like just starting or whatever it is. Working out is a great example, but like, bite-sized things attainable.
Yeah. Even with the podcast, like I first said, I was like, I'm going to film every week.
Yeah.
Every week. I'm going to be, it's so fucking hard. It's so hard.
I'm in the same boat as you.
It's so hard to be consistent. And like, I have 2 other hosts and try to get a guest. And I realized, I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. Like if they can't make it, that shouldn't stop me from being able to do an episode. And they're still going to be here another time. Or if I can't get a guest, like we'll find subjects to talk about. Like I don't need to find a crutch or excuse to not do it. So like I've been holding myself accountable. I'm like, okay, let's get in there every 2 weeks. That way I'm just having every 2-week episodes at least, because consistent in this field and any media is important, right? And then you have to like, all right, I have to post. I have to post here. I have to post this. I have to post that.
You have to know. Yes, I couldn't know what you're talking about more.
Oh my God, the little tedious things.
And can we talk about there's no return going on?
No, there isn't. Like you just do it and like, it's like, and I don't even.
You're building, but still.
Yeah, and like, of course I would love for it to be like a show, right? And, make profits off this. But like, honestly, I just love doing this. It's like a hobby for me now, like
connecting.
And I've learned to switch that, because at first I was like, okay, this isn't getting the views I thought it would or whatever. And I could have instantly been like, you know what, I'm not going to do it. It's just a waste of my time. But it's not a waste of my time. I've learned to just love this. And like, I've never had this long of a conversation with you. And I've known you since like 2015, right? Like mutually, we haven't you know what I mean? But still, it's like, now I'm getting this conversation with you, who's a dope person. And it's like, I'm putting this out in the world, and that is like gratifying for me.
Yes.
Like I don't need, if it happens, cool, but I'm learning to do this for me than to like do it for like the views and the viralness, right?
I think you hit the nail on the head, and that is what is going to lead to any sort of success, right? Because
when you start doing it
pulled
for
back
you.
And I did the same thing recently where I was like, okay, what am I doing? Why am I doing ground up? Like because there is no right? There's we're not getting, the views that you thought you would, or the da-da-da. And so you have to go, okay, wait, why are you doing this? Okay, I love connecting with people.
Yep.
I love learning. I'm curious. I'm growing. Like if I could change one person's perspective after they listen to it, right? These like bite-sized
little things, Those are
And
the gratifying things that like why we still do it, right?
Yes. And when you go into the podcast that day with that like reminder, then it's like so helpful.
Yeah, even when like, because I did the episode with Connor, and I think we just brought you up and talking, and I'm like, you know what? I should reach out to Nat. Why not? Like, and it's like, I don't know where you are in your world or your career. Like we haven't talked in a while. It's like, I didn't know how you would respond, but obviously you responded greatly. Like there was never, I wasn't going to be like, oh, she's going to be too big for me. She doesn't want to come, right? But it's like, you still have those ideas, because it's like, well, I haven't talked to her in a while. Like, would it be weird to just reach out? But it's like, it's not. It's just because I was like, wait, no, she's dope. I would love to have her on here, and she's doing so much. It's like, and I think you're a powerful voice for like, woman, and you're Latina. So it's like you represent a lot. And I always love having people that represent different things, so it's like important. And like no one has these conversations with people at this moment in there. Everyone's trying to like get a big name person. That's like here. It's like, no, I think the stories that are dope are when it's not this cookie cutter shit, and we're learning about what it's took and how you got here and how you're still gonna do things and push yourself, right? So it's like, that's the enjoyment out of it, for sure.
Yeah, we are in the same. When did you start your podcast?
2020.
Oh, 2020. Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
So you've done a ton of episodes.
Yeah, so we did season 1 was like 20 episodes.
Oh, wow.
This is season 2, and again, it like...
I'm going to have to pick your brain after this.
Yeah, of course. I would love that. But, and again, we filmed consistently, and then like, I think it was like Thanksgiving and Christmas and all this stuff gets in the way, and you're like, oh God, it's so hard to get everyone to the room and lined up. But it's just like, today, like before, I would have been like, oh, the other guys can't make it, so I don't want to do it. It's like, sure, I would love if they're always here, but also I just think it's important to be consistent at least with the episode.
Totally. It does not matter at all.
Yeah.
Like, and see, what a year ago you're saying that you wouldn't have done that, right?
Yeah, I would have like been like, oh, they can't make it, so let's try to find another day. And then who knows, maybe that would have led to you being like, oh, okay, sure. And then you book something and you're gone for a month. And I'm like, fuck, I wanted to film with Nat. I didn't get to. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm like, fuck it. She gave me a day. She gave me a time. I'm going to do it.
It's not always going to be perfect or how you want it.
Yeah.
But it is perfect in its own way.
Exactly. And it's like, that's what I'm learning to do is like, take the opportunity instead of trying to make the opportunity, right? You were like, oh, 2 p.m. is better for me, like 7 p.m.'s late, you said, right? So I was like, okay. Before I would have been like, well, the guys can get it there at 7, But I was like, all right, Nat can get there at 2, I'm gonna get there at 2.
Yeah, there we go.
There's an open slot, cool, perfect, let's do it. I'm not, boom, signed.
Yeah. And now that you've done it, so have you never done just 2?
No, so this is my second time.
Okay,
because
cool.
I did it
Now
with
you're
Connor.
Yeah.
So it's been you and Connor that I've had like just the one-on-one
I love
with.
it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Because my other thing is like one-on-ones, even though this isn't like that, I feel like it can feel interview-ish because it's only like one-on-one, right?
Oh.
But when there's other people in the room, we're all asking questions and bringing up stories. So it feels more like a conversation rather than like, here are my questions for you. You know what I mean? But
it's still a conversation.
Yeah. So I've learned that too. But so you launched Ground Up 2 now, which is your podcast.
Yeah.
I've peeked into it a little bit too because I saw you like post about it. I'm like, oh look, she's doing a podcast too. It's dope. And like, there's so like, right? Everyone can do a podcast. Everyone's doing a podcast, but it's like, how does it make you feel and what are you talking about? So it's like, that's why you did it.
That's why you have to believe that what you bring is unique.
Yeah.
Like we have to believe that. I think it's actually one of the hardest things for us, especially us visionaries and dreamers out here in LA or wherever you are pursuing something. Yeah. With social media, with how many podcasts are out there. I definitely, many times my negative brain was like, there's 100,000 podcasts. Why would you start one?
Why would I? Yeah. What's the point?
What is the point? Yeah. It's not going to look like hers. Yeah. She's way prettier. She's way smarter. Clearly, look how she's talking. Yeah. You know, all these things. And
doesn't matter.
You have to just be like, what I bring, if I'm myself, even remotely, then it's special because no one else is me. You know, no one's going to say it like I do. No one's going to dress like I do. No one's going to bring the same guests. Yeah. And you just have to believe that for yourself in whatever you want to do. If you want to, you know, be a bracelet maker and you could easily be like, why would I do that?
Yeah, there's a million bracelets in the world, right?
But if you're passionate about that, you put your own spin on it. And I think there were a lot of businesses in the pandemic where they got a lot of time to put their ideas and create them into businesses, and they took off. Yeah. And it was because they had this idea. They always sat on it. They finally had this time. Exactly, lo and behold, it was unique, and it hit the market very well.
Exactly. And you wouldn't have known if you didn't just put your art out there.
Yeah. Who cares if you fail?
Who cares? You have to know that like failure is okay. We have like this thing where like failure, oh my God, I don't want to do that because what if I fail? It's like, okay, if you fail, you fail. Yeah. It's what you do after that. After you get the failure, do you keep going? Or maybe you do realize like, yeah, this isn't for me. Like, you know what I mean?
And then you go on to the next one. At least you tried that one. It's out of your brain. It's out of your mental space. Yeah. You're done.
You're not holding on to it. Like, you don't want to hold on to, like you said, the FOMO, like that you would have had with magic. Like and still, like, even that took a little bit of time, but you got there. Like, it doesn't need to be this direct shot.
The seed was planted a while ago. The podcast seed was planted 2 years ago.
Wow, okay.
So, you know.
It took time.
It takes time.
It's fine.
Yeah. And one thing that not only failure scares us, but being judged by other people, right? I feel like that's huge. Like, that's for me, for sure. Like, oh, I'm an actor. I don't want people to think that I'm X, Y, whatever it is. Yeah. Nobody cares what you're doing.
Exactly, right?
Fun fact, people only care about themselves.
I mean, and there's just so much going on in the world that no one's going to sit there and like really like, and if they do like the trolls out there and whatever, like that's what they do. Yeah. It is what it is. Like you're not going to make everyone happy and impress everyone. Can't. There's nothing wrong with that. No. We are getting close with time, so I did want to dive into real quick the Tell Me Lies show. And, you know, it's funny because I really like, you know how like sometimes you're just not seeing people's posts because Instagram's algorithm or whatever. The algorithm. So I had no clue you were in that show. Oh. I was just watching it and I'm like, you know, it's like one of the episode, right? Yeah. First episode, you're like introduced as the friend back home. And I'm like, I literally paused it and I'm like, that's fucking Natalee. Holy shit. I'm like, oh my God, she landed a show. Like, I just think it was so dope. I found out that way instead of, because like if you were like to promote it, I'd probably go watch it still to be like, oh, yo, the homie's on the show. I'm going to watch it.
Right.
But the fact I just had like wait, that's Nat. And I didn't even know you were on there. I was like, it was so cool to see that. But yeah, I wanted you to talk about that experience and what that's been like, because there is a season 2 coming, right? Okay. And, you know, there was a big surprise at the end of season 1.
There was.
Yeah, you're the friend.
I'm the guy, I'm the one.
So what was that, real quick, that experience like, and how did that all happen?
Yeah, so I auditioned for Tell Me Lies like 2 years ago, I think. And
amazing show and cast, too. Like,
it's so good, so good. I auditioned for a different role for Diana.
Okay.
And didn't get it, whatever. Didn't think anything of it because, again, I go out for so many auditions. I was just like, another one that I didn't hear anything from. Like, I don't even think twice. I send in tapes like it's taking a shower.
Yeah,
I'm like,
right.
Didn't get that one, whatever.
It's like all the time, yeah.
So, and then a year later, my manager was like, hey, remember that tape you sent in for Tell Me Lies? Like, they really liked it. They're casting this other role. And I'm like, great, let's go. And this is the beginning of 2022.
Yeah.
And every time in the beginning of the years, I'm a very big, like, New Year's resolutions, all those types of things. Hit the ground running with acting, very focused. So that was my mode, 2022. I'm like auditioning for pilots, and this came in, and I'm like, hell yeah, let's go. So then I got a call back for it, and I'm like, great, right? When you're in the mix, you know that they like you. It's a good sign because it means that you could kind of hone in on the craft that you want to make this character, because you know that your look is kind of what they're going for, your vibe, right?
Yeah, you're not really second guessing that, so now you can really,
you're not like too outside of what they want, right? Whereas you send the first audition, it's like,
I have no idea.
If they don't call me, if they don't call me back, it's nothing, really has nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
So then, so I do like, I don't know, 3 auditions, like a director session, and I got a call and they're like, you didn't book it. And I was like, I cried. I was like, oh my God. Like, because I had just tested for this other show that I didn't book either.
Got it.
And I was like, oh my God, I'm terrible.
Frustrating, yeah.
You start, even though it's the weirdest thing, even though you're testing for the lead in a show, when you don't get it, you're like, I'm not good, because they wanted me that bad. They knew I was that good, but not good enough to this other girl, when really they're just like, oh, this girl is more the fit. You know, it's not the
kind of idea of it.
Yeah. Didn't get it. And then I was filming the Snickers commercial on set, and I was in the hills at this like house with no service. And I got like a call from my agent and manager, and they left me a voicemail, and they never call me together unless something good is happening.
Okay.
So I'm like, what? So I call them. I really had no idea. And they're like, you booked Tell Me Lies. You're flying to Atlanta tomorrow.
Oh my God.
And I was like, what?
That's insane.
Yeah.
And it's just like that too. They're like, yeah, you have a 6 a.m. flight.
They
Get
did.
ready.
They said 6. I said, can I said, can I have 5 p.m.?
Yeah.
And they said no.
Oh my God.
Not my agent and manager, the production. They're like, we need you. And then, of course, I didn't go in until she's like, you have a fitting when you land.
Okay.
No.
Nope. Oh my God.
Not until Monday.
It's so crazy.
So, yeah.
Wow.
But of course, you're just so stoked.
Yeah. And the show's amazing. So
the show came out really great.
Yeah. Season 2.
Season 2.
Be on the lookout.
Yeah.
When's that coming out?
We don't know.
Okay. All right.
Again,
have you started
actors
filming
are the
yet?
last to know. No.
Okay. So no filming yet, but there is going to be a season 2. Okay. Got it. Awesome. Well, I can't wait for that. So yeah, I mean, everyone has to definitely go check out Tell Me Lies.
Yes.
Raising Kanan.
Yes.
Some of the Power series, right? Sirens you're on if you want to catch her on the TV world, but also Ground Up.
Yes.
Listen to the podcast and buy the magic book if you need a good morning routine. I I might buy it.
Yeah.
Or buy it from my girlfriend even.
Oh, she would love it.
She would love it. She loves journaling and all
pink.
that stuff. Yeah.
I'm working on Magic 2.0. It's going to be a little more versatile.
There you go. Nice. Yeah. So, before we get out of here, what can we, other than that stuff, is there anything you hope to do this year and that we can look forward to seeing?
I think I just, everything, I have so, like, all those things we talked about, you know? The podcast is like a daily thing, as you know.
Nice.
Getting guests and fine-tuning it. What does it mean? What's it about, right? Because it changes.
Yeah.
At first, it was, like, very acting-based. And now I'm like...
mine was music-based at first. And
exactly,
it's like, all right, I can't put myself in one lane. And I know so many cool people. Like, let's just talk about everything, right?
So that, and then, I'm launching Magic 2.0 soon.
Okay.
So really doing designs and everything for that. And then the shows. So yeah, reach out to me on Instagram. I always love connecting with people. So
yeah, or if there's anyone that watches this and thinks they'd be a good fit for your podcast, they should definitely reach out to you. She needs some guests, right?
I need guests, always.
There we go. Well,
Thanks so much, Brandon,
of course.
for having me.
Thank
You're
you.
amazing.
You're amazing. This was great. Thank you for coming on. I feel like this is going to really have a lot of stuff that people can take. And like you said, if one person just gets something from this, we're happy, right?
And if you get something, tell us, because we need
we
to know.
we need to know so we feel gratified, okay? Yeah, we need the affirmation. Yeah. That's one of my affirmations, okay? Let me know. But yeah, that's it. That's this week's episode of All Bass No Treble. Thank you guys for tuning in. As always, share, like, comment, share this positivity stuff out there. And yeah, thanks for tuning in every week. Peace. Hey guys, thank you so much for checking out this week's episode of All Bass No Treble. If you could please subscribe and like, and also get the notification button smashed for us, that would mean the world to us. If you'd like to keep up with myself, my co-host, or our special guest this week, all of our social medias and info is right below. And if you would like to listen, tune into Apple Podcasts or Spotify, as you can hear us on there as well. Again, thank you so much for tuning in this week, and I will see you on the next episode.